Production funding for Flying Squirrels Insider is made possible in part by
Secure Testing Services, providing 24-hour on-site drug and alcohol testing for businesses.
and by
Clean water is one of our most valuable resources. Conserving it should be all of our responsibility. Remember every day to make every drop count. Wash full loads, take shorter showers, turn off your faucet. Water, use it wisely. Let's commit to conserve.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the season finale of the 2019 season of Flying Squirrels Insider. I'm Trey Wilson, he's Jake Eisenberg, and we're ready to take you behind the scenes on everything that's been going on with the Flying Squirrels and put a wrap on this 2019 Flying Squirrels season. Utility Buddy from the City of Richmond Department of Public Utilities makes us aware about protecting the environment this fall. Fertilize your lawn and garden, sweep up debris, and don't overwater. To learn more about protecting the environment, visit richmondgov.com/DPU and click Stormwater Utility or call 646-7000. Text to win free Flying Squirrel stuff. Text FSI to 63975. Message and data rates apply. Mobile services provided by Opt-in Technologies. Season's almost over, Jake, and the Flying Squirrels have been heating up down the stretch.
Yeah, playing their best baseball in the final month of the season. They've won 3 of their last 4 series.
That includes taking a sweep from Harrisburg, who's a playoff-bound team, winning a home series against Erie, who might make the postseason, and then sweeping the Seawolves on the road in 4 games most recently this week.
Yeah, they did it in impressive fashion, too. They were in control all 4 of those games.
A big part of why the Flying Squirrels have had some success winning some games of late has been the addition of the Giants' #1 prospect, the #2 overall pick from last year's draft, Joey Bart.
He got off to a little bit of a slow start at the AA level, but during the road trip, hit over .450 and had 2 4-hit games against the Erie Seawolves in that 4-game series.
He also added a couple of home runs, so it's good to see Joey Bart start to get his bat going. He's now hitting just under .300 with the Flying Squirrels. Janeshri Fargas has been here all season long, and he's turned out to be one of the most consistent players on this team this year.
And Willie Harris said it at the beginning of the year that Fargas was going to be the most underrated player on the team. He's been the best hitter throughout the season and in the second half. He's hitting .280 in August.
And the Flying Squirrels' leading hitter by batting average for this season. And also, once he gets on the base paths, he's a terror, and he's closing in on a franchise record.
Yeah, start your engines. Janeshri Fargas now has 48 stolen bases, 1 shy of tying Kelby Tomlinson's record of 49 set back in 2014.
He could become the first Flying Squirrels player ever to reach 50 steals in a single season. He's got 4 games left to try and do it. Jacob Hayward's already blown way past the single-season walks record.
Yeah, we've got Janeshri Fargas with steals, Jacob Hayward with walks. He's got 80 this year. That leads the Eastern League. It's been fun to watch his patience at the plate this year. Batting average might be a little bit lower than he'd like, but the on-base percentage at .361, 6th in the league.
It's a .211 batting average compared to that .361 on base percentage. He's also walked 10 times over his last 8 games, so he just keeps piling on top of that record. Ryan Howard was an all-star in 2017, struggled in the first half with the Flying Squirrels, but he's found a good stroke in the second half this year.
And we're seeing the Ryan Howard that was an all-star last year. He's batting over .350 in his recent stretch, and since the middle of July, he's been the Flying Squirrels' best hitter.
Howard's batting .278 in his last 43 games since July 17th, which is the highest on the team in that stretch. Shifting gears over to the pitching staff, Caleb Baragar was the All-Star Game starter this year, had a rough second half start, but he's also finished this season strong.
Now he's holding opponents' batting average to just .195. That's among the best in the league, and he's top 10 in the league in ERA, strikeouts, innings pitched, and WHIP.
For Caleb Baragar, if that .195 batting average holds, it would be a franchise record by a pretty good bit. Ryan Halstead moved from the bullpen into the starting rotation, and he's found himself a good groove as a starting pitcher for the first time in his career.
He might be the best pitcher on the Flying Squirrels staff throughout the season. He's gone 5 innings each of his last 3 starts, the first starts of his professional career. He's been a great, consistent addition to the rotation.
This Flying Squirrels 10th season we've been celebrating all year long, and Jake and I wanted to take a look at some of the top moments from throughout this 2019 season. And every discussion that we have looking back goes right back to July 10th, the Eastern League All-Star Game.
A sellout crowd of the Diamond, the first ever Eastern League All-Star Game in Richmond. What a spectacle it was throughout the entire week. Not just the game, but the home run derby, the concert, everything leading up to it, and then so many Richmond stars shining during the game on July 10th.
Caleb Baragar was named the starter for the Western Division. He got the win in that game. Jalen Miller drove in the game's first run. Jacob Hayward hit a homer, ended up being named the MVP. We saw Melvin Adone hit 103 miles per hour with his fastball, and Tyler Sear got the final outs on the mound. So the Flying Squirrels contributed all across the board in that Eastern League All-Star Game for the home crowd. And some of the games that counted from the wins and loss column, June 2nd against Harrisburg. The Flying Squirrels have never been no-hit. They nearly got no-hit that day, but it ended up coming out with a win.
They were no-hit through 9 innings in that game, but it was a scoreless game through 9 innings, and Jalen Miller wound up coming through with the only hit the Flying Squirrels needed to get a 1-0 walk-off win over Harrisburg.
Two of the most exciting games of the year came very late in the season. We go to August 19th against the Erie Seawolves. Josh Lester for the Seawolves tied the game in the 9th. Jacob Hayward stepped to the plate in the bottom of the 10th.
He stepped to the plate with the bases loaded in the bottom of the 10th. He came off the bench as a pinch hitter. First pitch he saw, he smacked it over the left field fence for a game-winning grand slam, one of the biggest moments of the season for the Squirrels.
And then just 2 days later, one of the wildest games I've ever seen. The Seawolves game that went to 13 innings for the Flying Squirrels and the Seawolves.
Yeah, I mean, this was a game that was the longest of the season for the Flying Squirrels, back and forth in extra innings, and then Pete Maris had the walk-off hit in the 13th inning to give the Flying Squirrels the win.
The Flying Squirrels trail going into the 10th, the bottom of the 10th, the bottom of the 11th, and the bottom of the 12th, and tied the game up each time. And Matt Wynn pitched 3 innings on the mound without allowing an earned run, and he's a catcher. So that was one of the more exciting games of this 2019 season. What a year it's been for the Flying Squirrels. These players spend a ton of time together throughout the season. Sometimes they even live together, as Garrett Williams and Caleb Baragar do. Jake caught up with both of them to see just how well they know each other.
Not only are Caleb Baragar and Garrett Williams left-handers in the Flying Squirrels starting rotation, but they're also roommates. So we're going to test their knowledge to see how well they know each other today with a little bit of a roommate game. I'm going to ask them a question, they're going to write down an answer, and then we'll see how you guys do. All right, question number 1. What's your roommate's favorite food?
Oh, God.
Garrett's thinking pretty hard about this one. All right, Caleb's got an answer down, so while Garrett's still working on it, we'll see what he's got. Caleb said sushi.
Question mark.
Question mark. Garrett, is sushi your favorite food?
Negative.
Negative. Oh, you got one
1.
wrong? All right, Garrett, what do we got? Anything? Question mark.
That's a little too vague.
You're both 0 for 1.
0
We're
for
going to
1.
move on to the next question. All right. Which one of you is the neater roommate? Who keeps their room cleaner? Who keeps their locker cleaner? All right, these were the quickest answers by far.
We
so
both
far.
know the answer to this one.
All right, 100% Garrett. He's got Garrett. All right, so we know Caleb's the messy one of this roommate pair. Moving on. What's your roommate's strangest habit?
Easy.
Oh, he's got one down. Okay, we'll start with Caleb. Blow drying his hair. Gotta keep the locks right. You used to have long hair.
I did.
Got it cut now, but you still blow dry?
Growing it back out, yeah, you got to.
There you go, blow dry the hair. You got a weird habit for Caleb?
Anything he does is weird, to be honest.
Oh, yeah, okay. Anything he does is weird. These guys are getting along pretty well so far. All right, moving on. Which one of you guys sleeps more? We've got another unanimous decision. It's Caleb. He sleeps more, and he's also messier, apparently.
Allegedly.
Allegedly messier. What's your roommate's favorite movie? All right, Garrett's ready. Garrett, what's Caleb's favorite movie? Dumbo. They're coming out with a remake.
That is incorrect.
That's incorrect. What is your favorite movie?
I'd probably say The Dark Knight.
Dark Knight. That's not really close to Dumbo.
No, not
What
very.
you got here? Little Mermaid. We went 2 Disney movies for this. Okay. Is Little Mermaid your favorite movie?
Definitely not.
What is?
No, I would say like Gladiator probably.
Also nowhere close to what Caleb wrote down. All right, it seems like these guys have a little bit of catching up to do to maybe get to know each other a little better. But Caleb, Garrett, thanks so much for playing the roommate game.
Thanks, Jake. Appreciate it.
More coming next on Flying Squirrels Insider.
Hello out there, Flying Squirrel super scientists. Put your thinking caps on in the rally position because this week Professor Natasha and I have a tough nut to crack.
Indeed. We are going to use statistics to determine who is the very best player ever.
I thought that was not science so much as opinion.
My favorite player is a matter of opinion. The best player statistically is something else, and one we can objectively calculate using a metric called wins above replacement. I hope you are ready. This will take some serious mathletics.
I'm always ready to face an equation, Professor. Hit me with your best shot.
Slow down there, Galileo. In order to calculate wins above replacement, we need to find several large sets of numbers.
Ah, a quest then. Very good. Where do we start?
We start in 1856 with Henry Chadwick. He recorded and published collected records of player statistics and is credited with the creation of the box score and most of the common ways we measure the performance of baseball players.
Chadwick's work laid the foundation for how we have recorded baseball history. Over the years, the rules and strategy have changed, but the numbers we considered important did not.
Until we started using computers to help our analysis.
Then the new breed of cyber statisticians formed the Society for American Baseball Research, or SABR. Now we must battle the army of self-aware sword equations to save the future.
SABR metrics are not the enemy, and critical thinking is not new. Doing something the same way it has always been done is not a reason sufficient for science.
Right you are. A good scientist must always examine their assumptions. Chadwick's system assumes that a walk is an error on the part of the pitcher, but sometimes earning a walk is because of great batting.
In 1977, Bill James published his first baseball abstract, in which he created several brand new statistics. His theories developed into a revolution, changing how the game is played in the front office and on the field.
So we have computers collecting more data, and we have refined our equation variables. So now we can measure how much better a specific player is at helping a team win than the average player. By accounting for more of the factors involved in success, we can get a clearer measure of an individual's performance.
That is exactly what Sean Rally Monkey Smith had in mind when he created wins above replacement. Now let's get some math cooking.
I think we have all the ingredients on your list. We want a player's batting runs,
Check.
base running runs,
Check.
double play runs,
Check.
fielding runs saved, and just a pinch of positional adjustment.
Check, check. The sum gives us our players' runs produced. Now we just have to repeat that process for every player to get the average runs produced.
Thank goodness for super speed. So now we know the average or replacement level, and we know our runs above average.
Great! Divide our players' runs above average by 10, and we get our wins above replacement.
Mathematical. But Professor, what about the pitchers?
Pitchers are trying to prevent runs, and there are a couple competing theories on how much a team's fielding plays into that equation. For our purposes, we need to know the average runs allowed per 9 innings of the average pitcher.
Coming right up.
Thank you. From the replacement level, we subtract our pitcher's runs allowed and multiply by the total number of innings pitched. Divide the total by 9. Add this number back to the replacement level to give us our pitcher's total runs above replacement. Divide by 10, and we have our wins above replacement.
That was some super heroic solving, Professor. Did those of you following along at home already figure out the players with the highest WAR of all time?
They are probably not as fast with a calculator as a pair of super squirrels.
Fair enough, Professor. Without further ado, the greatest ball player of all time, according to science, is...
Babe Ruth. The great Bambino had a lifetime wins above replacement of 182.4. almost 20 points higher than the next greatest player, pitcher Walter Johnson.
Wow, thanks for the awesome lesson, Professor Natasha. If you have a baseball science question, contact us on Twitter at @GoSquirrels, #SquirrelsScience.
Back on Flying Squirrels Insider, we're at the Diamond today, and we've got Gio Brusa joining us right here on the dugout. And Gio, this is your first year at the AA level. What's that experience been like so far?
It's been great. I've heard a lot of good things from teammates in the past about being a Flying Squirrel, and I'm glad that I'm finally one this year.
You spent a couple of years in San Jose, but before that, you spent 4 years at University of Pacific, just about 20 minutes from where you grew up, your college experience. Why there?
It's close to home. I'm a big homebody, love my family. But a huge reason was the coach there at the time, Ed Sprague. He played in the big leagues for about 11 years, and he's from Stockton, so he's a hometown guy, and I always want to be a big leaguer, and I figured being able to play for him would give me the best opportunity to learn what I need to learn to do so.
You were drafted out of high school. Then a few years later, you were drafted as a college junior. You went back to school for your senior year, got drafted again. You were drafted 3 times. Does that phone call ever get old?
No, but yes. You know, the last time it was more so the news that I wanted to hear. All the circumstances came in, fell into place. So that was great, and no better call than to be a Giant. Especially being from where I'm from.
Your senior year with the Tigers, you really took off. You blasted off quite literally, career highs in home runs. What led to that change your senior year?
I'd say it was the first year that I really stayed healthy. My sophomore year, I had a labrum surgery. My junior year, halfway through, I hurt my elbow that ended the season. And so my senior year, I was able to stay healthy the whole time, and I think that paid off.
Then you get that phone call in the 6th round from the San Francisco Giants, a team that's not too far from where you grew up. What was that moment like?
Oh, it was great. I was at my grandmother's house. My family, my girlfriend, all of them were there, and it was surreal. We were just sitting there eating breakfast, and I didn't necessarily expect that phone call, but then I got it, and it was great.
A couple years after that, you find yourself playing in San Jose. That's just about 2 hours from where you grew up. There's another team in that league, the Stockton Ports, that's basically right where you grew up. 2 years in the California League. What did you learn in that experience?
A lot, especially my second year there, I was learning how to play first base. So defensively learned a lot. But I think just how to go about a professional season. Every year you come away with a little bit more that you want to apply the next year. So I think just how to approach your work every day was a huge learning experience for me.
Now, 2019, you started the season with the Flying Squirrels. It was a bit rough to start the year, went back to San Jose, came back to the Squirrels, and things kind of clicked. What changed?
I'd say a mentality. I think being sent down was a good experience for me. I didn't necessarily understand it at the time, but now looking back, it was probably the best thing that happened to me this year.
You've got some interesting things in the clubhouse. You've got your hitter's toolbox. It's helped you lead the team in home runs this year. You've got 11 of them. What are some of the items that we're going to find?
You got a Frisbee. You got a little bouncy ball type thing. You got a bat with a towel on it, and I won't break this one out yet, but you got a dog toy as well, so I'll let you stay interested in that.
Where'd you pick up these items that have helped your swing?
Honestly, a lot from my hitting guy in Southern California, Craig Wallenbrock. I work with him, and he's got a lot of fun tools in the bag, and so I'm fortunate to get to know those.
When you're developing your swing, how do these tools, how do you take what you have from these tools and bring them into the batter's box?
Practice, whether it's just sitting in front of the mirror, doing dry hacks, that's a huge one I think really works. Then you just do your best just to really feel the movements and take them into the game best you can.
That's just a little sneak peek at Gio Brusa's hitter's toolbox. We're going to dive more into that in just a moment. Gio, thanks for joining us. Back with more next on Flying Squirrels Insider. There are tons of different things that go into a baseball player's swing, things that you might not even think of. That's why we've got Gio Brusa here. He's going to show us how he uses this Frisbee, this rubber ball. We've got a balance ball, this bat with a towel on it. So many different things that you wouldn't expect to see at a baseball field, but all come together and create the Flying Squirrels' current leader in home runs. So Gio, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Let's kind of build this swing from the ground up. We'll start with the swing that you have without all this stuff. Kind of take us through it, slowly, bit by bit, when you set up as a right-hand hitter.
Okay, first thing with my feet, I want to basically get into the ground with my heels. So you don't want to be on your toes. So for me, I actually will lift my toes up, and then I'm just nice and like upright. I like to keep my posture, try to feel into the ground with like my heel, and then just really just kind of take like a nice smooth swing, staying through the ball as long as you can.
Just like that. That's simple. Okay, so let's start with our fun little instruments down here. We're opening up Gio's hitter's toolbox. Gonna start with this balance ball.
So first we have this. This is a balance ball. You could use a Bosu ball too, which is like a half kind of ball. It's an exercise ball. And for this, I put my heel on the ball because you have to feel like you're, pushing down into the ground. And so when you swing off of this, you really want to feel like you're putting pressure, like you're flattening the ball the entire time as you go forward. So you don't want to like come off the ball like that, because then you're drifting or lunging. So you really want to feel like you're like compressing the ball as you're going forward, and then you're landing in a good like balanced position where you can fire from there and take the swing that you want.
So the purpose of this balance ball is really to keep kind of your weight distribution where you want it to be as you're swinging.
Yes, exactly. Keep your weight back, and again, use the ground as well as you can, because that's where you get all your power from.
All right, so that's the lower half. We're gonna move to the upper half of this swing now. We're gonna start with this bat. It's got a little hook on the end. It's also got this towel hanging off. Probably not the best to hit a baseball with,
Correct.
But it helps you out kind of with your swing.
Correct. So this is big for like your bat path, and when you swing it, you're not wanting to like snap the towel onto the ball. You actually want to feel like the ball is like getting really deep, and you're gonna catch it in the towel, and then you're gonna like drop it down your back type of a thing. So it's basically getting your path, like your barrel in the zone early, and you're staying like through it as long as possible. So it gives you more room for air.
Okay, and this bat with the towel on the end kind of works hand in hand with this compression ball over here.
Yeah, so and then this is another thing that I like to do. You put this in your front side is to keep your front side connected, because you don't want to like push your hands back and then like stride or something like that.
That drop was on purpose, by the way, because that's the way that this works.
Correct. What you want to do, you kind of want to have your front side, we call it a front side connection ball. So you want to have your elbow and like your knee kind of like work together. So you want to hold on to the ball until like you're ready to hit, and then it will drop, and then you can take your swing that you want to take.
And sometimes you've got it kind of up on your shoulder a little bit.
And then other times I'll put it on my back shoulder, and you want to just kind of like, that one's again working with path, and you want to drop it like behind you. So basically you'll use, this elbow will come down first, and then it will connect to like your lower half, and it'll all come together.
Okay, so the first three items here kind of make sense. You've got this balance ball, you've got a ball that kind of helps your front side and your swing, and you've got like an actual bat. So that kind of makes sense.
Yes.
But we've also got this Frisbee.
Yes.
And how does a Frisbee help a baseball swing?
A lot, actually. So this is to work on your path. I used to be taught like you want to like throw the barrel at the ball type of a thing. You don't want to do that. You really just kind of want the barrel to like the momentum to carry itself through the ball. So with this, you want to throw the Frisbee like to, if you're hitting right-handed, you want to throw it to the second baseman. If you're hitting left-handed, you want to throw it to the shortstop.
All right, let's see it.
So like that.
Just like that, and that creates a baseball swing that works for 11 home runs, just like that. That's Gio Brusa. This is his hitter's toolbox, and that's how you build a baseball swing. Thanks, Gio.
Awesome, man. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Back with more next on Flying Squirrels Insider.
Our Eastern League travels have brought us to Altoona, Pennsylvania, home of the Altoona Curve. We're at People's Natural Gas Field, which sits right next to Lakemont Park, which houses the Skyliner roller coaster, which you see behind me. Jake, it's one of the cooler atmospheres of a minor league baseball game in the Eastern League.
Yeah, we've got 12 ballparks in the Eastern League, but there's only one roller coaster, and when it comes to the ballpark atmosphere, you hear the sounds of all the fans in the ballpark, but also the people riding the roller coaster right behind the fence.
This roller coaster originally opened up in 1960 up in New York. They moved it here in the mid-1980s, and for about 15 years it sat just in this field. Then they built this ballpark. Seemed like it'd be cool to have that coaster right in the backdrop of right field, and that's where it sat for the last 21 years since this stadium opened up. Jake, what do you say we go take a ride?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, let's do it. Well, Jake, that was the Skyliner. What'd you think?
I thought that was awesome, and I think we should go again.
I don't know about that. That was... Well, there sure have been a lot of ups and downs throughout this 2019 season.
It's been an absolute thrill, Trey.
It's been a lot of fun. That's a wrap on the 2019 season of Flying Squirrels Insider. Thanks so much for joining us and tuning in all season long. And thanks to our entire crew. We'll see you all at the ballpark in April.
Production funding for Flying Squirrels Insider is made possible in part by
Secure Testing Services, providing 24-hour on-site drug and alcohol testing for businesses. And by
Smell gas? Act fast. Don't just stand there. Leave the area. Get out. Go where the smell is no longer present and call 911. Making you aware, keeping you safe. We're Richmond's Natural Gas Safety Awareness Program.